Good afternoon. Happy Monday lunchtime, everyone. Welcome to Monday Lunchtime Live with Kelly and I. For those of you who don't know us, I'm James Prince. I'm the lead pastor at Life Church Lincoln, and I'm joined today by my very lovely wife, who's just in a different room of our house. It looks like she could be on the other side of the world, but she's actually only a few meters and one level up from me. It's Kelly Prentice. It's great to see you on the second proper Monday Lunchtime Live. This is a regular feature that we'll be having every single Monday from now on. So we really hope that you're able to tune in. Why not pop it in your diary? Part of the reason that we want to do this is because it's for a number of reasons, but partly we want to kind of take a look back on the weekend that we had, maybe some of the things that happened in church. We want to give you an opportunity to remind yourself that the God of your Sunday should also be the God of your Monday. Any day that has day at the end of it should be God should be God over it. And we want to give you an opportunity, a bit of a fun. This is not going to be really deep, really theological or anything like that. This is just we want to keep this fun, lighthearted and interactive. We want to give you an opportunity to tell us what you've been doing and what you're over the weekend, what you're doing over this coming week. And we'd love to hear from you. So we're getting a few comments and already. So hi, Jackie. Hi, Cherise. Hi, other people who are watching. Please don't be afraid to comment. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a thought, comment, prayer request, anything like that, then we would love to hear from you. You can actually call if you'd like more of a private chat if you'd like to have someone to pray with you, then please feel free to call our pastoral line Monday to Friday, 12 till 2. The number's 01522 694 694. We'd love to hear from you. Hi, Pixie. It's great to see you. It's been great to see you popping up on a few of our things. It's been great to see you. And thanks so much for your lovely comment, Jackie. My leg is not very good. I seem to have might split some of the cartilage in my knee, so I'm getting some more physio this week. So please pray that it gets better, and please pray I don't have to have surgery one day or anything like that. Hi, Sharon and all the McMasters. Lovely to see you. And hi to everyone who's watching who hasn't commented yet, but please do comment. So, Kelly, looking a little bit browner than usual, I see. What on earth were you up to this weekend?
I would say that rather than brown, maybe a bit pink. We definitely got a lot of sun this weekend. We could have been on the Spanish Riviera or somewhere, but actually we went for a short camping trip to the Lincolnshire coast. So we camped just near Anderby with the kids, and we went with Tom and Naomi and their boys, and also Becca and Ali, and of course our adopted brother James Morrison. So we had a great time away, lots of fun by the seaside, snorkeling, didn't see a lot, it's quite murky, some surfing, which was really great, and just had a really nice time together, real nice time of friendship and fellowship, and a bit of a break and a rest. But we're all very pink. This show could be sponsored by Red Lobster.
And it's a good thing that we're not too close to camera, because we are certainly I'm peeling a little bit. So we did take precautions, but
impressive tan lines from his sunglasses, don't you, James?
Oh, I am the king of the t-shirt tans and the sunglasses tans. Yeah. So Kelly, that was a little bit about our weekend. Of course, we had a really great Sunday on our online church service, didn't we? Which is really fantastic, which we'll reflect back on in a minute. But last week, Pete and I were on Monday Lunchtime Live, and we did a few different quick things, and we did quick fire questions. And so you went on last week. So let's do some quick fire questions with you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? Maybe if anyone wants to comment on these things or ask a question, something suitable, of course, nothing too rude or anything, but maybe a question that I don't ask of Kelly. I do know the answers to most of these things, but it'd be great for you to know what they are. So, Kelly, quick fire questions. Number one, what is your favourite worship song?
Oh, that's a really hard one. I am loving Breakthrough at the moment by Red Rock Worship.
Excellent. What's your favourite Bible verse?
I've got loads of favourite Bible verses, but my main Bible verse that I try and live my life by and really encourages me is John 16:33, that says, "I've told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world there will be trouble, but take heart, for I've overcome the world. And if that doesn't inspire you on a Monday morning, I don't know what does.
Absolutely. That's brilliant. What's your favourite book of the Bible?
And
maybe you could share why as well.
Maybe, I think probably the Acts of the Apostles. I just love that book because it reminds me and encourages me about how church should be now, and that we're called to live in community with one another and to support one another, to do everything in the power of the Holy Spirit. And I love that the disciples and the early church, they weren't distracted by things of the world, but they'd set their eyes firmly on the mission that Jesus had given them. And I just think it's a great model for how we should live our lives.
That's awesome. What books are you reading at the minute? Book or books?
So I'm reading 2 books at the moment. Well, I'm actually reading about 10, but 2 main books that I'm reading at the moment. One is, I think I've mentioned it before, I'm nearly finished, but it's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. It's a great Christian book about how we need to not let hurry dictate our lives, because that's actually from the enemy, and actually we need to seek peace through a real relationship with Jesus Christ, and actually that we can be great church leaders and not be great disciples of Jesus, and we should be disciples of Jesus before anything else. So that's quite inspiring. And then I love Ken Follett, who writes a number of historical novels. So I'm on the third book of a trilogy at the moment, which is called Pillars of Fire, I think it's called, and it's based on Columns of Fire, and it's based. The first one was around Pillars of the Earth, which was around when they first started building cathedrals. So it's kind of a historic novel. It goes right through the Spanish flu. And now we're at the point where Protestantism is kind of really in its early roots. So it's very interesting.
Awesome. So your favourite film?
Oh, no. Look, the reality is, I want to say something clever like The Shawshank Redemption. But the reality is, it's Legally Blonde. That film can make you feel better at any given moment of any day.
True story.
Do it, you can do it.
True story. So last 2 things. What's your favourite sport and your favourite sports team?
So my favourite sport to watch is rugby, and I support the Wales national team.
So you don't have a club? You don't have a club rugby side?
No.
Okay. No, I don't either. Technically, I've been debating for years about whether or not I should support Harlequins, but maybe people want to help me with that. So Leicester Tigers just seems a little bit too obvious. Everyone around here supports Leicester, and I want to be a little bit different. So,
gymnastics and like figure skating, so some of the more artistic sports as well.
Okay, that's awesome. So, and finally, what are you having for lunch?
I made an epic beef and ale stew for dinner last night with dumplings, and there's leftovers, and leftovers are my favourite kind of food, so that's what we're having.
Brilliant. I'm excited about that. I'll see you in the kitchen in about 10 minutes. That's going to be really good. So hi Veronica, it's lovely to see you. And Jackie said up the Gunners, so that can only be a referral to the fact that Arsenal won the FA Cup at the weekend. So massive congratulations to them. It's the best FA Cup match I can remember in ages. Most of the time they're so tense, but this time it was really, really fun. So that was really good. Yeah, Kelly you did say gymnastics, didn't you, Kelly?
Yeah, I love gymnastics. I was a gymnast. I know it's hard to believe now, but when I was younger, I was a gymnast. I wasn't very good at floor work, but I loved the vault. And basically, I think that was because I wasn't really scared of anything. So what I used to lose points on the floor, I used to make up for on the vault, because I was generally the only one that was stupid enough to go for the bigger vaults, and you get more points. So, yeah,
Kelly, you've always been very daring, and you're strong too.
I could do a cartwheel properly. I could do an Arab Spring, but that's it. But gymnastics isn't for me anymore.
So shall we? We'll just have a brief reflection back on yesterday, Sunday. It seems like forever ago now, but it was only yesterday. So yesterday we had a really great service. We're in the sad position at the minute, as many churches at the minute, where we just don't believe that it would be possible or sensible to meet at the minute. We think we could have a much better position, a much better experience by worshipping at home with friends and with family, by inviting people around and being invited to other people. What happens when God comes into your community? And so and there's been the recent message, wasn't there, Kelly? I think it was on Friday that said that where the government are now advising churches, saying that churches, if you're going into a church, really you should be wearing a face mask as well. So for me, that's even more of a reason why it's difficult to do things like that. So for the time being, we're meeting virtually, but we're asking people to meet safely in small groups. And yesterday we had a great time of worship, really lovely time of prayer and communion. Life Kids was tremendous. We had one or two other bits as well, and a great message from Pete as well. Pete brought a great message. Pete, ordinarily, having spoken yesterday, ordinarily would be with us, but he's taking a well-deserved almost an entire week off. He's back at work on Friday to make sure everything works for this Sunday. But he's having a bit of time off this week, which is really good. But Kelly, what did you think on sort of thinking about Pete's message? What were your kind of reactions, reflections on everything?
Yeah, I thought it was a great Sunday. Actually, it was really nice to see McKenna for the first time doing Life Kids. That was really good, and it was nice to see Becky Visser joining the worship team. And when we were in the lockdown, obviously there were more restrictions around how we could do that. So it was really beneficial to us that quite a number of members of our worship team live together at the same house, the Bells. But now we're looking to expand that a bit, and that's really good as well to see that. So that was really good. But I thought Pete's message was amazing, and I just think any preach that includes quotes from the Bible, which obviously is amazing, but also The Hobbit is just amazing. And I loved the way he started. So the first thing he did was he quoted from The Hobbit. By J.R.R. Tolkien, and it said, "I'm looking for someone to share in an adventure that I'm arranging, and it's very difficult to find anyone. I should think so in these parts. We are plain, quiet folk and have no use for adventure. Nasty, disturbing, uncomfortable things make you late for dinner." And I just wonder how often we find ourselves in a mindset where we choose comfort over adventure. And I know myself sometimes, if we've had longer services and things like that, I've been a bit like, oh, it's lunchtime. But actually, when the Spirit's moving, we just need to be obedient. And we're not called to be boring, kind of plain, quiet people. We're called to be the army of God, and we're called on an adventure. And I loved that one of the things that Pete said was that he was going to restore, that God was going to restore to the church the spirit of adventure. And I already feel that in myself. I already feel like we're moving into a really exciting season. And I thought it was a really, really helpful message. I think the 2 points that he brought up out of, I think it was from Revelation, were around the white robes, which spoke of the righteousness of God's people. And I think God is calling us to remind us that we need to be a righteous people, and that looks like spiritual disciplines and making sure that we are living holy lives. And he talked about eye salve as well, around the blindness of the church, and that we need the power of the Holy Spirit. It isn't just enough to just do what we've always done. We need to be led by the Spirit, which I thought was great. He said about strapping on boots and picking up our cross and stepping out on an adventure and stepping into our destiny. And that language is just, it's so inspiring that we're being called out on mission. I thought an interesting thing that he said, and I think this is something that kind of applies to everybody. He said that delays and hindrances are an opportunity. And sometimes I think we feel a little bit like we've got this plan from A to B, and anything that gets in the way of that is kind of counterproductive. But I think there are real opportunities in those interruptions that really help us either to develop skills that we've got, or they're God-given opportunities to really meet with God and with people. And I'd listened to a great preach recently as well by Stephen Furtick, and he talked about that, which I thought was really good. I love that he said we need to be more focused on who we're going with rather than what we'll be doing. So not to focus on the content, but on the companion. And I think as long as you, it made me think of in the Aladdin film, when Aladdin comes on the magic carpet to Jasmine's veranda or balcony, whatever, and he says, "Do you trust me?" And I just think, do we trust God? And if we do, then we'll take that step and trust that everything else will really fall into place. So I thought,
I thought it was a really amazing message, and I love this thing. What did you think about it? Because I know you're an adventurous type person. You're not really the sort of person who likes the mundane, do you? So, and Pete, for me, one of the takeaway lines that Pete used was he said, "When God is involved, adventure is always guaranteed." What does that look like to you in your life, and what do you think it can look like for all of us as a church?
I think if you know that something's from God, just saying yes to it is a bit scary, but also really amazing. So even in my work now, the first time I was given an opportunity to work in my field, I had absolutely no experience, and I didn't even know how to do the job. And I really felt that was what God was saying, and so I just said yes. And I think that's something that we all need to embrace, is not necessarily thinking about the consequences, but obviously there's an element of planning and common sense and all those things. But I think when we say yes to things, God provides. And even when I took my job in Birmingham, that didn't make any sense in an earthly sense, but I felt like it was the right thing, and God really blessed me through it. And I think we need to make sure that we choose to focus on the promise of God and not on the comfort of God, which I think is not on comfort, sorry, which is something that Pete really talked about. He said we need to lay down the comfort and pick up the adventure. And I think we've got so used to living a modern life where everything's available to us at any given moment of every day, and we're seeking opportunities to feel comfortable, that's something that we need to focus on.
Can I just say I apologise for any background noise? We're having to have a little bit of work done on our house at the moment, and it was a little bit impossible not to get any noise. But so just as we kind of finish this section and move on to, just before we finish Monday Lunchtime Live, a lot of Pete's message really centred around the church at Laodicea and near the start of Revelation, didn't it? And Pete talked about, and I thought this was really interesting. He said that Laodicea as a city was known for three real things. It was known because it was a rich city, and it was known for its medical school, its textiles, and the royal mint that it had. So they make coins and notes and things. And Jesus says to them, he says, "You've got all these things, but you've got nothing." You know that whole thing about how you come into the world naked and you depart naked. You can't take anything with you. And he says you might have a great medical school, you might have great textile, lots of textiles that you can sell, and a royal mint, but really you've got nothing. And he says you need these three things. So maybe you might want to write these down, and Pete's message will actually be available on YouTube, and so you can watch that back. But he says you need these three things. You need gold refined in the fire, which is proven genuine faith that's been exposed to trials of life. Secondly, you need white robes, speaking of the kind of righteousness that only God can give. And he said, thirdly, you need eye salve, which will help you to see. So I think, I don't know about you, Kelly, but just as we close this section, do you really think that I know that there's all these 7 churches spoken of in Revelation, but I think the church at Laodicea is one that's really pertinent to us at the minute, because we've got to make some real big choices, and we can do it now, can't we, before we really truly emerge into this brave new world. About, are we going to put our hope in material things, or are we going to put our hope in stuff that never changes, never spoils, perishes, or fades, that Jesus gives? What do you think to that?
I think that's a really good point. And when we were listening to the preach yesterday, I had a real sense of the song Oceans, where it says, "Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. May I walk upon the waters wherever you will I think it says lead me. But you know, the reality is it's very easy to make sure that we've got all of our I's dotted and our T's crossed, and that we've prepared, and that we've got all of our provisions set out. We know exactly what we're going to do, and I think there is wisdom in preparation, so don't hear what I'm not saying. But I do think that we're being called to a time where we live by faith, and sometimes that looks like stepping out and being obedient even when everything else isn't in place. And I think as we emerge into this new world, we need to make sure that the focus is always Jesus. If you go out on a journey on a boat, or you go walking in the Lake District, one of the things that you would take with you, that you would have with you, is a compass. And you would just follow the direction of the compass. And even if you got battered from side to side, or you had to take a diversion because the path wasn't there anymore, or say a tree had fallen, ultimately you might step round that obstacle, but you would still follow that compass, and the compass has to be Jesus. And we need to make sure that we're focusing on the main thing, and not being distracted by entertainment. The church isn't here to entertain. The church is here to declare the good news of Jesus. It's a mission field, not a museum or a music venue. It's about actual action. And one of the things that I think is really key is that one of our core beliefs or values as a church is action, and we need to make sure that we put that into place. And one of the ways we can do that actually is this Thursday. We've got the prayer walk, which is being set up.
Brilliant, Kelly. You read my mind. Do you want to tell us about that? So this Thursday, 7:30, church building. What's going on?
Yeah, so we're through the engine room, which is our prayer initiative. We're looking at stepping out and beginning to walk at the streets of our community, obviously in a safe manner and in line with government guidelines. So we're asking you to bring a mask, so that we can actually walk our streets and pray for people, be really present, pray for opportunities to meet people and to be able to pray for them, but also to pray for the territory that God has given us, and to really declare his goodness over this land. And it speaks so much of that scripture that we've been talking about for a while now, particularly, which we relaunched again in January with the vision from Jeremiah 29 verse 7, about praying for the peace and prosperity of the city, for if it prospers, you too shall prosper. And that's what we want to do. We want to see Birchwood and the surrounding areas prosper.
Absolutely, and play our part in our amazing city, in the region, and the world. And Jackie made a comment saying that because I know Jackie lives quite close to a church building, and we'd love you to join us, Jackie. Sort of, and if there's anyone out there who's thinking, well, I don't know if I'll be able to walk for very long, or walking's not really my thing. You can come on. Why not come on a bike? Why not come on a scooter? Why not come find be inventive? I know lots of people. My friend Barry Woodward often goes on prayer drives. That will be a little bit more difficult in this instance, but why not go out for a drive and pray for the place that you're driving through? But we'd really love it. 7:30 this Thursday at the church building. It'd be great if we'd love to get as many people there as possible. We'd love you to be there, Jackie, and anyone else who'd like to be there. But also, that's not the only prayer thing that's taking place this week. So tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on our Facebook and YouTube channels. If you heard me right, at 7:30 a.m. we'll be having Tuesday morning prayer. And we'd really love you to come in and join in on that. We tend to pray for sort of personal stuff, and then corporate stuff, and then kind of nation and world stuff. So if you've got any prayer requests, please do jump online and share them with us there. You can call our pastoral line this week, and we'd really love to hear from you. You can chat and even pray with one of our friendly pastors. So why not get in touch with us? All our details are online. And just as we close, just want to remind you about please do stay in touch with your life group as much as you can. Please, don't wait. If you've got something on your mind, or if you're concerned about something, please don't just sit there and wait till someone gets to you, because no one can read one another's minds. And even though I feel a bit like Kelly read my mind a second ago, just shout someone up and say, hey, can I chat with you about this? It's bothering me, it's on my mind, or can you pray for me? Let's take responsibility for ourselves in that way. And all this week, all our content's available on Facebook. But the best place to go is to YouTube. It's all on there. It's easy to comment, and it's the easiest way of finding our kind of back catalogue of stuff. Probably the last thing I wanted to tell you about, there are other things. The last thing I was going to tell you about was the journey, which takes place every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. on Facebook and on YouTube. And we've been going along the lines of our mission, our mission of connect, grow, and thrive. We'd really love you to watch it on those videos. And on Wednesday, we've got a really special thing taking place, isn't it, Kelly? Because you are going to be on the journey talking about how to lead in your workplace. So make sure you watch out for that. If you're going to give us one sentence, why should people watch that on Wednesday at 11 a.m.?
Because it's very easy to think that leading is the responsibility of church leaders, but the reality is we're all called to mission, and the mission field is wherever God has placed you, whether that's the schoolyard, whether that's in an office, a hospital, a kebab shop, wherever it is that you find that God has placed you for this season. That is the mission field you've been given, and you are called and anointed to lead in the place that you've been put. So you shouldn't see your 9 to 5 as totally separate from your spiritual ministry, because it absolutely is the key to us reaching the lost, is to be able to spend time with people who don't know Jesus and share the good news.
That's brilliant, Kelly. Well, I'm definitely going to watch on Wednesday, but having actually been there when you filmed it, I would actually say that a lot of the principles and the advice and the ideas that you put forward on it's not solely for people who do like a paid job, but there'll be people who volunteer, people who I would say they're for absolutely anybody, even just in terms of your family, ways that you can help witness to your family and the mandate and mission you have for that, and friends and everything like that is really good. So make sure you watch that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But apart from that, that's about everything from us. So thanks so much for commenting. We'll just remind you as well, because Jackie's reminded us, tomorrow we have coffee break at 10:30 a.m. That's actually on Zoom. So if you'd like to join in for that later on today, or it may actually be very early on tomorrow, that as a reminder just beforehand, the code will be on our Facebook and Twitter pages and Instagram as well. So you'll be able to get the code from there. If you receive our weekly update, the code was in last week's weekly update. So you can just go back to that. If you don't receive our weekly update, just head over to our website, life-church.co.uk/contact, and we'd love to get you connected up with that. Is there anything you want to share before we go, Kelly?
Yeah, just before we finish, I just wanted to encourage any ladies out there. My lovely friend Libby has actually written over the lockdown period a 90-day devotional, which is called Worth More Than Rubies, and it's now available to buy on Amazon and on Kindle, and I just think it's a really great resource. She's done an amazing job. It's really inspiring. So that's my lovely friend Libby. If you would like to get involved with that, then access that through either Amazon or Kindle, but it's just a recommendation. I think it's great, and I think she's done a good job, and she's one of the leaders of Bridge Church and the youth leaders, and we obviously have a great relationship with them because we were going to Soul Survivor with them, and we'll be looking to partner with them for other things in the future as well. So they're our great friends and we want to support them. So yeah,
Libby Arnold, isn't it, Kelly? Maybe you could put an Amazon link in the comments once we're done. That's brilliant. Well, that's all we've got time for. We've actually gone slightly over time anyway. So thank you so much, Kelly, for being on Monday Lunchtime Live. We'll be back next week at 12:30. Why not pop it in your diary? We'd love to see you. It's on Facebook and YouTube. And we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow, hopefully for early morning, for Tuesday morning prayer at 7:30 tomorrow, and prayer walk 7:30 p.m. on Thursday. But thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for being part of it. And we wish you a really good afternoon. Have a great day today. And everything you do it for God's glory. Lots of love, everyone. God bless.